Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to Engineering Adda. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about event in Spring Boot. So first of all, we are going to discuss what is event and how we can design the event-driven architecture in Spring Boot. So this is what we are going to discuss in this video. So let's get started for that. And let me try to go to the next slide to discuss about the event first. So you can say that in a Spring Boot application, an event is a significant occurrence or action that happens during the application lifecycle. So event is nothing but it is an action that happens during the application lifecycle. Spring Framework provides an event handling mechanism that allows different components of the application to communicate with each other asynchronously. So here you can see that with the help of event handling, what we can do, we can try to establish the communication between two components of the application asynchronously. That means there would be one event publisher and there would be some event consumer, and with the help of event we can communicate with both of the publisher and the consumer. So Spring Framework provides an event handling mechanism that allows different components of the application to communicate with each other asynchronously. This mechanism is based on the observer design pattern, where event produces, or you can say generate events, and event consumers listen to that and react to those events. So this is a simple explanation of the event. It is an occurrence or action, and through event handling what we can do is we can try to communicate with two components of the application. Or when you are going to design let's say two microservices, then with the help of event you can try to communicate with them. So this is about the event. Now the next point is Spring Boot provides an event-driven architecture based on the application event model from the Spring Framework. So what we are going to do is we are trying to see some more things about the event and their applications, and after that what we'll do, we'll try to simply create a Spring Boot application. There we'll try to see how we can design the event-driven architecture, how we can design a component, how we can communicate with how we can design a publisher and consumer, and how we can communicate between both of them. So everything we are going to discuss here through practical implementation. Okay, so let me try to go to the next slide, and here just I wanted to tell you about how the events works. Okay, so there are 4 steps that I have listed down here. Event publisher. So any component within the Spring context can publish event. Okay, typically this involves creating a custom event by extending the application event class provided by Spring. So first of all, we should have an event publisher. The second thing is we should have an event listener. Like other component known as event listener can register themselves to listen for the specific type of events. When event is published, a Spring event handling mechanism notifies all registered listeners. So there is a event publisher, there is a event listener, and then we try to handle the communication between event publisher and the listener asynchronously. So event handling in Spring is asynchronous by default, meaning that the event publisher and the listener operate independently of each other. This allowed for decoupling between the different parts of the application. Okay. Now the next thing is event types. The Spring support different, or you can say various types of events, including context event, example application startup and shutdown, custom events that we are going to create here, created by the application, and framework event, example HTTP request handling events. So this is the simple workflow of event handling. Like we should have an event publisher, we should have one or more event listener, and then how we try to communicate between publisher and the listener, and what are the different types of events we have. Coming to the next thing is real-time application of the event handling we are going to see here. So let's say you are going to design a notification system. There you can use the event-driven architecture to design out this notification system. So sending notification to the user or administrator when certain action occurs within the application, such as new user registration, order placement, or the system errors. So you can design a service, you can say, or can say application, and you can use the event-driven architecture there to, like here we are going to design a notification system. So with the help of event-driven architecture, you can design this notification system to send the notifications to the users, or you can say order placement or the system errors. Coming to the next application is audit logging. Generating audit logs for important operations such as user authentication, database modification, or the configuration changes. Here also you can use the event. Even the cache management, you can use the event handling, invalidating or updating cache data based on the specific event such as data modification or the expiration. Now the fourth application is workflow orchestration. Coordinating complex workflow by triggering different steps based on the specific events such as order processing, approval workflow, or batch job scheduling. So these are some of the real-time application of event-driven architecture, or you can say event, and you can design all these systems using the event-driven architecture. Coming to the next slide, these are the steps when you are going to create an event-driven architecture. So first of all, you have to create an event. You should have a publisher, you should have a consumer, and then you should register these things to the event listener. So let me try to read out these things one by one for you. So the step one is, first of all, you have to create an event. Create a custom event classes by extending application event, which is a class or its subclass to represent different types of event in your application domain. So the first step is you have to create a custom event. Now the second step is publish that event. So to publish that event, you should have create a service that is going to publish the event, and that service is going to call the application event publisher, and with the help of the method provided by application event publisher, you are going to publish your event inside that service. Once that event is published, now comes the picture of event listener, or you can say consumer. So create the event listener, implement event listener classes by implementing the application listener interface or using the @listener annotation or a method to handle the specific type of events you can use. So when you are going to design an event listener, what you can do is either you can implement the application listener interface, or you can use @event listener annotation on the method level to carry out this work. Now the next step is register event listener. Register your event listener with the Spring context to receive and process event when you are publishing it. So this is the steps when you are going to design a system which is using the event-driven architecture. Now let me try to come out of this slide and go to the IntelliJ, try to create one application, and then we'll try to follow these steps to create our event-driven architecture. So what we are going to do is, let me try to brief you. So when we are going to develop our application, what we'll do, we'll try to create the application which will try to register the user through the events, and once the user is registered, we will get the notification through the email using the event listener. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to create a system where we are going to register the user, and once the user is registered, we are going to receive the email. Okay. So this is about the video. Now let me try to come out of it and go to the IntelliJ, and there I will try to create a event management project. So let's say go to the new, and let's say, so first of all, let me try to tell you that I am using IntelliJ Ultimate version. So directly I can come here and try to create a Spring Boot project directly from this IntelliJ Ultimate version itself. If you are not using IntelliJ Ultimate version, what you can do is you can go to this site, which is start.spring.io, and there it will open up the same page. There itself you can create your Spring Boot application and try to download it, unzip it, and open it in the ID that you're using. Either you can use IntelliJ community version, or you can use the Eclipse. So whatever ID you are using, you can open up your project in that ID and then start doing the development. So this is about the Spring Ultimate version. Now when you are using the Spring Ultimate version, directly what you can do, you can go to the file, new, create project, and here you can select the Spring boot project, and then you have to provide the project name here. So let's say it is event, you can say user registration app using event in Spring Boot, something like that. I'm giving the big name, but yeah. So select the my one here and go next. Try to include the Spring Web dependency. If you wanted to include Lombok, you can use it. I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to use only the Spring Web dependency. Now create this project and open it in a new tab. So this project will take a few seconds of your time or few minutes of your time to download the dependency that you have added and to configure your application here. So just wait for that, and once it is done, what you can do is you can try to go for the development. So let me try to give few seconds of time, and then we can start our development here. So I think our application is good. Now let me try to run this application first to see if everything is working fine. So just open this up, run this application, and wait for a few seconds. By default, the Spring Boot will start on the 8080 port, or you can say the Tomcat inside the Spring Boot will start on the port number 8080. So you can see that the Tomcat server is started on the port number 8080. That means our application is good to go. Now we can start doing the development here. So again, let me try to go to the slide and tell you that what are the steps you need to do. The first one is you have to create the event. You have to publish that event. You have to listen that event and register your event listener. So just let me try to follow those things. So here, when we are going to create the event, let me try to create a class called, let's say, user registration event. Okay. And we are good. Now, when we are going to, what you have to do is you have to extend this to the application event. So that you have to do. So just let me try to extend it to the application event. So you have to go to this application event. And here you can see it is abstract class. That means there is a method that you have to override here. Or you can see it is saying to create a constructor and call this application event source object here. So just do that. So what we are doing is we are trying to extend out this event class to the application event, and then we are creating a constructor where we are passing the object source here. Now again, let me try to create a variable called username, and then that also will pass in this constructor. So just let me try to do that. So let's say it is username, and just pass this inside this constructor, and let's say this dot username equal to username. And again here, let me try to create a getter setter for this. So just right click on it, generate this, and let's say getter and setter, and just we are good. Okay, so what we did is we have extended this event class to the application event, and then we have created one variable called username, and then we have created one constructor where we are passing this object source to super, and then we are passing this username that we have created, and then we have created the getter and setter. Okay, so this is about the user registration event, or you can say event class. Now coming to the other classes that we need to do or we need to create is the publisher class and the consumer class. So let's say this is we are going to create the user registration publisher service, something like that. User registration let's say user registration service. Now I'm not going to add the publisher here. So when we are calling this user registration service, it is a publisher. Okay. Now this is a service. You need to annotate this with @service annotation, or you can say @component, anything you can use. Coming here, what we need to do is we need to publish our event. Okay, so to publish that event, we need the application event publisher. So that you need to auto-wire here. So just auto-wire private event publish, something like that is publish event application event publisher. Okay, so this is the interface that you need to auto-wire here, and we are good. Now what we need to do is we need to publish this. So let me try to do that. Public void. I'm just going to create a method called register, and we are passing the name here of the user, and we are simply trying to create the event here. So let's say user registration event equal to new user registration event. There you need to pass the source, and let's say source is this, and then you need to pass the user, or you can say username, right? So you have created one event here, and what you need to do, you need to publish this event. So how you can publish this event? So you need to call the method of the application event publisher using this reference that we have created. So just call this publish event and pass your event here. So I'm just passing the event, and we are good. Okay, so what we did is we have created a service class which is a publisher here called user registration service. We are auto-wiring the application event publisher so that we can call the publish method of this to publish our event. Before going to call this out, we are creating the event, and we are passing the user here inside this event. So this is about the register method. Now coming to the other classes that we need to create here is we need to create the consumer class. So let's say it is send emails notification, or let's say it is something like email notification service. So this is a consumer for us. Now again, what we need to do is you need to auto-wire this because it's a service class. You need to auto-wire it with the @service. Now here what we need to do is we need to create a method and annotate that method with the @event listener so that it can listen to that event that we have published. Okay, so for that I'm just going to create a method here. Let's say public string send email, something like that. And here you have to pass the event. Okay, so user registration event. Now we'll try to extract out the name out of username out of this event. So just call this event dot get username, and then let me try to store it in the variable called string username or user, something like that. Okay, now with what we are going to do is let me try to simply print this. Okay, so email is sent to the registered user, and then we can provide the user at the end. Okay, so or what we can do is yeah, we are good. And simply anything you can return, or let's say you are going to return this thing only. Okay, so just let's say you're going to return this. Okay, now this should be you have to annotate this method with the event listener. Okay, so just annotate it out. So when we are going to publish our event, the event will be published, and then with the help of this annotation, this method will try to listen to that published event and then try to extract out the username out of that event and then simply return this string. If you want to, like here I'm just simply trying to return the string or trying to print it out, right? But if you want to send the email, then you have to write the logic how you can send the email to the registered user. But here I'm just showing you the way, the simple approach how you can do those things. Okay, let me try to print out something here. Let's say email is sent to user. Okay, something like that, and I'm also returning this. Now let me try to create a controller. So let's say it is user controller, and then annotate this controller with @rest controller. And what you can do is you can simply create a get mapping here, and let's say it is a register, and then public string get register. Now let me try to pass the username as a request parameter, and let's say string username, and then here we are going to call the user registration service method, which is register method. So for that, let me try to auto wire the user registration service inside this class. So just user registration service, and with the help of that service and instance, what you can do is we can call the register method of that and pass this user here, and then simply return this. So this is whole thing that we are doing. Okay, let me try to return something else. User registration is done. Okay, something like that. Yeah. Now let me try to explain you the whole flow. So what will happen is when you are going to hit this API with this user that you are going to register, it will go to the register service. It will try to register the user with this event, and then it will try to publish that. Once you will publish it, it will go to that email notification service, which is acting as a consumer. It will listen to that published event and try to return this, or you can say the print out this piece of code. Okay, so here you have to write the logic how you can send the email. And if you want to register the user, here what I'm doing is I'm simply trying to only publish it out. I'm not going to register anywhere. But if you want to register that user, what you can do is you can try to have a logic. If you want to register that user and store it into the database, then you can write those logics here, okay, before publishing it out. So here you can write the logic like registration, user is, let's say user is inserted into registration DB, something like that. You can. Now let me try to run this application and try to hit the API, and then we'll see. Okay, so here itself, let me try to open out on this, and then, okay, let me try to provide the name. Let's say it is Aman. So this is the username, and this is the API that we are going to hit. Just hit it out. And here you can say that user registration is done, and response is this. Now, if you'll go to your run, you will find that user is inserted into the registration DB and email is sent to the Aman. So this is how our event-driven architecture works. Now let me try to explain you the whole flow. So what is happening is when you are going to hit this API, it will go to the register service. Here, when you'll come here to the register service, it will create a event with this user. Now the event is created. We'll try to, if you want to insert that user into the DB, you can insert it out. Once it is inserted, what you can do, you can publish that event that this user is inserted into the DB. Now what you can do is you can trigger a mail to that particular user to send the user a mail that you are inserted into the DB or you have been registered, something like that. So once this is published, that means the event is published, automatically it will go to the event listener, because this event listener is listening to that particular event that we have published. This event contains the user information. Now we are extracting out the username out of it and then simply printing it out. So this is what coming here. This piece of code is coming from the user registration service, and this piece is coming from the email notification service. So you can say that this is coming from publisher, this is coming from consumer. And you can say that we don't have any link, hard-coded link, that we are calling the publisher and then we are calling the publisher inside the consumer, right? It is decoupled. With the help of this @event listener annotation, it directly listening to that event which is published. So this is how event-driven architecture is being designed in Spring Boot using the event. So if you like the video, please hit the like button and please subscribe the channel for more such content. Thanks.